because it is a legendary quarterback that I had the opportunity to work around and get to know in Minnesota. Our mutual friend, of course, is Lee Steinberg, who was a mentor of yours for so many years and has done so much to impact not only so many lives, but I think what he teaches those athletes to be able to do after the game. So Warren Moon, you're joining us today. Thanks a lot for taking a little bit of time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I just ran into Lee not too long ago. He was over doing another interview, and he's having his great parties Saturday afternoon that I'll be at. So
we'll both be there. I'm getting a humanitarian award there. So
I'm handing out an award as well. I don't know who it's to yet, but I'm going to be.
I hope it's me.
I'm going to be presenting.
Well, I hope I get it, because again, it's an honor to have you here. A legendary career that you've been able to turn into, what you do off the field now at your advanced age, but you still look like you could go out there and throw the ball around a little bit.
I could throw it, but I can't move, and I'd get killed. So I'm better doing what I'm doing right now, watching.
And here, it's like old home week for you guys. You're seeing a lot of your friends and those guys. What is it? Still that camaraderie, almost that locker room feeling?
It really is. I did an interview with Christian Foye yesterday. He's with WEEI in New England, and we were teammates in Seattle, and we were just reminiscing about all our old days. It's almost like when you get with these guys, you revert right back to where you were in that locker room and all those special times. And that's the thing you miss the most when you leave the game. It's not so much about the touchdowns and the accolades. It's the relationships that you built with these guys, because they become like family when you play with these guys. You spend more time sometimes than you do with your family, especially during the season. You're with these guys all day long. You meet with them, you practice with them, you shower with them, you eat with them, you travel with them. You do all these things together. So you establish some really close bonds with each other.
And your career, again, such an amazing, CFL, then to the United States and all over Houston and Minnesota.
I know a lot of people.
Over 40,000 yards. I mean, does it seem like it was just yesterday, or does it really feel like it was a long time ago?
It doesn't feel a long time ago, but it doesn't seem like yesterday either. The game has changed so much over the last 10, 15 years, and it's opened up a lot more. It's a little bit more wide open than it was during the days when we played. I wish they would have protected us like they protect these guys today. I'd probably still be playing the game, but I love what's going on in football right now. I love the fact that you have all these older quarterbacks like Tom Brady, who just retired, and Drew Brees and Ben Roethlisberger and Phillip Rivers. All these guys have just left the game, who are all great, great players. But you have all these young guys who are coming in right behind them. So I think the league is in very, very good shape at the quarterback position for the next 10, 15 years.
And you were so sturdy as a player. I mean, that longevity that you had that most quarterbacks don't, unlike Tom Brady. But do you wish, you look and go, wow, if I'd have had the receivers of today, the numbers that you would have put up?
I had some pretty good receivers. I don't complain about that at all. I just think it's style of offense and the rule changes. The rule changes are really based towards helping the quarterback and help the receiver make it a little bit easier for them. The receivers now can't be touched after 5 yards. They can't take big hits over the middle anymore, any of that type of stuff. So it's more of a throw and catch game than it ever used to be. It's more of a skills game, and that's why you see these astronomical numbers these quarterbacks are throwing for.
And as I look over my shoulder and see Lee Steinberg, he had a great story yesterday about you and what he, working with you when you guys were together. But I think the legacy that he left is what you do so much off the field. And I know you don't like to talk about it, but you've done so much for your charity work. Just talk a little bit about what that means to give back and how influential that Lee was.
Yeah, I come from a very giving family. My mother was somebody who, we didn't have a ton where we lived, but whatever she had, she offered to people in the neighborhood. She offered to other kids or whatever. So I grew up watching that, and then you kind of partner up with Lee Steinberg after you get out of college, and he's a guy that wants his players to give back to their community, that wants players to set up foundations so they can give back and create relationships for themselves after their careers are over. So I did that, and it's been one of the most beneficial things I've ever done from a heart standpoint. It makes you just feel good that you're making a difference in people's lives. And my program is basically for education. I give scholarships to underprivileged high school kids. So to be able to play a role in the advancement of these kids, in the fact that they go on and go to college, graduate, get good jobs, and are productive, that's something that makes you feel good inside that you played a small part in that. So I've continued to do that since 1989. I won a Walter Payton Man of the Year award at one time. So that's probably the award that I'm most proud of because of what it talks about as me as a player on the field, but also the man off the field.
And you're such a great man off the field. Now we're getting photobombed by Trey Wingo over here, so just keeps going. So
just recorded an episode of Half Forgotten History with Warren Moon.
all right, before you go, you got your pick?
I'm kind of going with the Rams. I'm leaning there very closely. I think they just have a little bit more talent, power, and those big time players will show up at the biggest time of the game. I take nothing away from Cincinnati. They've been a team that's been behind in every game they've played and somehow find a way to win. And that's something that's a strong asset to have coming into this game, that type of confidence that they have, that they feel like even if they fall behind in this one, they'll find a way to win it somehow. And that's a great thing to have for a young football team. So I still think the Rams are a little bit better, but Cincinnati, they're going to be a hard out.
This man, he's so good. He chased me down to come over and get this interview. So not many Hall of Famers would do that.
I can't catch you, man. You're fast. You're fast.
Warren Moon, Hall of Famer, off the field, on the field, a great opportunity to just sit and spend a few minutes with you. So thank you, my
Thanks
friend.
for having me. Really
Best of luck.
appreciate it. Yeah.
You look like you're in great shape. I don't see.
I love to eat, and I have to go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week in order to keep up with my eating schedule.
All right. And where are you living now?
I'm living in Seattle.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm right
How did
outside
you end up in Seattle with all those in Minnesota? I mean, you got to come back to us.
Well, I went to the University of Washington. I played for the Seahawks for 2 years, and I worked for the Seahawks for 15 years as their radio broadcaster. So that's just an area that I feel very comfortable with. I have a young son in high school now playing high school football up there, and I'm not going to leave there until he's done with high school.
Kenny Mayne, the same thing. He loves that up there. It's such a great area.
Beautiful area.
All right. Warren Moon, join us. He's got to go. He's got so much to do all around this weekend. He'll be at the big thing tonight with all the legends and stars. So
I will be there.
All right. Warren Moon, that's a pretty good way to wrap up this segment. So thank you for joining us. Dave Stevens will continue to be live right here on Radio Row. You're following Ability Media, Q30, the Disability Channel, and me. Stay with us.
Can I have a quick picture if you don't mind? Real quick, thank you.